Well, our speaker tonight is Katie. I don't know a ton about her. I just met her a couple weeks on the phone, so it's the first time we went face to face. But she has an interesting story and a unique business she's starting, so I will let her kick it off.
Awesome, thank you. Hey guys, I'm Katie. I'm super awkward, so I guess I just moved to Omaha about 2-3 months ago. So I came from Minneapolis, and I'm excited to not be in a town where you guys burn things down. I hear like you guys don't do that, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys are familiar, that's like where all the riots were during the pandemic. Yeah, everybody knows that, okay. So I met, I don't know if any of you guys know Dylan. I don't know how to say his last name, so Dylan T.
Tegmeyer?
Yes, Tegmeyer. So I met him and he invited me, or introduced me to Josh, and that's how I ended up here. So I guess I can share my story. I'm one of those cool people that I printed off my notes and I left it at home. So I have them on my phone, and that'll be great. And I keep typing in it randomly, so it'll be even more fun. So I got introduced to Josh, and I was like, yeah, I'm building this really cool product. And he's like, yeah, that's cool, but people just want to know your story. I was like, oh, well, okay. My name's Katie. And I'm sponsoring the bar tab, so feel free to grab a drink tonight. And yep, so basically I thought I would share some of the business lessons I've learned. Josh kind of walked me through, we have a lot of landlords tonight. Kind of raise your hand if you're a landlord. Woo, and then you have a lot of flippers. You guys flip? Got a few of those. Any real estate agents? All right, we got one. And then all other. Ah, okay, we got some others. So I don't know if my lessons apply to everything that you guys do, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Sound good? All right. So basically, I grew up in Colorado, and I have 2 older brothers, and when we graduated high school, you had a choice or a family tradition of working at the truck stop between high school and college. So I said, all right, I'm about ready to graduate high school. Let's put my application in to clean up some trucker pee and see how that goes. It builds character, you know, that's how we roll. So then a friend of the family has a software company out of Minneapolis, and he just got a new client, and he says, I need somebody to go to Manhattan for 8 weeks and do data entry. I was like, what? You mean like a truck stop, Manhattan, truck stop? So I decided, forgo that whole character thing. I don't need that. And I went and lived in Manhattan for 8 weeks and did data entry at New York University Hospital on payroll software. So super exciting. And so that's like the beginning of my journey. I guess I did a good enough job that they invited me to keep coming back. So I was an English literature major. I actually went to Midland in Fremont, and like 2005 to 2009. So when I graduated, it was recession-ish. You guys remember those times? Real estate was really hard, good job back then. So I decided to head up to Minneapolis and see what I could do. So didn't know anybody. Company had 4 employees. One of them was the owner, and I was number 4. So it was a really small company. I had no family, no other connections. So it was really hard to start up there. And so after about 2 months, I said, man, this sucks. I'm totally told my parents, I was like, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna move into your basement, and then I'm gonna figure life out. And they said, no. I was like, oh. And so I said, my parents don't know what they're talking about. I'm doing it. So Monday, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna quit. I've been here 2 months. I gave it a try, like the old college try. And so I walked into the office, and my boss was like, all right, Katie, I need you to come into my office. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to quit. I'm gonna get fired. It's even better. So I go into the office, and this is, right around the time they were talking about millennials and how we need job titles and all that fun stuff. So my boss took that to heart, and he said, "I'm giving you a promotion." I'm like, "Sweet." He's like, "You start off as an office manager of 3 people." Yes, I did. It was a big office. Well, now I am the general manager of 3 people. Yeah. And no pay increase, because that's how promotions work. Yep. So I got my title, and I said, all right, I'll stick around a little bit longer to see what we can do. So that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. I thought, like, hey, you go to work, you get a paycheck, and then you go home, and life goes on. But being in a small business, that's when they say, all right, well, if we don't get sales, you don't get a paycheck, and you don't have a home to go home to. So I decided to, all right, let's see if we can sell this product. And the president, the owner, was like, well, more customers, more problems. More money, more problems, right? The more houses, the more tenants you have, the more phone calls you get. Just not a lot of fun. But that's not, as an entrepreneur, that we don't care about that. More money is great. It's fine. So that was kind of like my first entrepreneurial lesson, was deciding what type of entrepreneur you are. So I am an entrepreneur of opportunity and responsibility. And so I figured out if I wanted to get a paycheck, I had to sell the product. If I want to sell the product, I have to figure out how to do it. There you go. I'm an entrepreneur. Forced into it, kind of, in a way. And growing up, I wanted to clean up trucker pee. So it's a big leap to all of a sudden be working for this small company and having to make sales. So understanding what kind of entrepreneur you are is like a really good way to communicate with other people and figure out, when you have entrepreneurs that are the big dreamers, I'm the one that holds you on the ground and says, that's not possible. So you need that mix. If you have 2 people that are big dreamers and you're like, man, we're gonna own 50 properties, we're gonna have all these tenants, we're gonna get paid on time, we're gonna have any evictions, like, yeah. And then you need someone else who's like, okay, well, we need to have an eviction policy. We need to have rental agreements. So that's that responsible person, the person that holds you on the ground. So anyway, all right. So, and then also with knowing what kind of entrepreneur you are, it's really good to know your strengths and weaknesses. So I was an English literature major. I can tell you I can write pages and pages of nonsense that nobody wants to read. I'm great at it. I just learned last week, I've been talking with a branding company, and they say, you are very clinical. So when I go to your website, it's very clinical. Nobody, you're not inspiring anything. You're just blah. I was like, great, all right, well, that's a good compliment, okay. So my weakness is marketing, branding, but boy, I could sure write you a good paper on how Tolstoy, incorporates a city versus a country. I could do all sorts of fun stuff, but it doesn't really help me in my entrepreneur journey. Great at finances, numbers, logic, all that stuff's easy for me. Not great at spending money. So my thermostat is permanently set at 50 in the wintertime because I don't, making it go up. I could just put another blanket on. They have these heated blankets that are, you can do that instead of paying money for gas. So, but you have when company comes over, you have to actually turn the heat on, otherwise company's not gonna come over very often. I had one guy come over and I gave him a scarf and a hat because that one time my heater was broken. That wasn't my fault, but it was my fault for having a meeting at my house in the wintertime. So that's kind of some of the lessons I've learned. Knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your weaknesses are, so you can find that other person that complements you. If you're doing it by yourself, which I'm a solo founder, so yeah, doing it by myself. I know who I need to outsource to, who I need help from, and branding is marketing. All that stuff is great. Social media, I'm terrible at it, so not my thing, not my jam. But with the software company, I basically started, we were making around $500,000 a year, barely squeaking by with our 4 employees. And then learned about sales, learned about niche markets. My advertising sales budget was about $1,000 a year. So that's not a lot. I mean, that was like 2010. So that's like, what, like 1,200 now? So still not a lot. And I was able to grow it into about $6 million annual recurring revenue in 4 years. So we just kind of found that niche market, attacked it, and then went for it. So it's that opportunity. I'm that opportunistic entrepreneur, found that niche, said, this is what I'm going after. This is how I'm going to get there. And I won a paycheck. So I think I did it. And so my next lesson for you guys is succession planning. So I know we're all young. We're all like, we're not gonna die. And then that big wrecking ball comes by, or that car accident or whatever. In my case, our founder had a heart attack. And so he came into my office. We were in the middle of succession planning. He owned 60% of the company, I had 15%, and then we had a couple of silent investors. And he walks into my office and he said, I'm on my way to New York for a road trip, business trip. And he says, hey, have you gotten your will done yet? And I was like, no, but it's 80% done. He goes, mine's 90% done. I'm like, well, you got one job this week. Why don't you go ahead and finish that? Cross it off your list. And he goes, yeah, I just realized that if I don't get it done, everything goes to my ex-wife. And I was like, well, there's children around, so I can't say it, but she is not a great person, so get that done. And he didn't. So he passed away, and I spent the next 4 months navigating a hostile takeover. I don't know if you guys ever been a part of that. It's pretty terrible. So succession planning, even if it's on a napkin, just talk about it. If you're a solo founder, if you have a spouse, just talk about it. Death is not fun. My brothers, I have spouses. I'm single, yay. And they talk all the time. They try and prepare their spouses for like, hey, if anything happens to me, these are my passwords are. This is how I've taken care of you. Blah blah blah. And they're like, oh, I don't want to hear it. And like, no, I've had a bad experience, so all of you need to hear it. So decide how it's going to work. If you are in a partnership, key man in life insurance, great thing to invest in. Luckily, our founder had a $2 million policy on him, and I was like, yes, we're going to use that to buy out the ex-wife. We're going to make her go away. And she owns 60% of the company, so she bought me out. So again, it's just if you have multiple partners in a project, in a flip, just great to have that insurance. It only costs like $90 a month, and I have $1 million policy on me. Don't kill me, any of you guys. But just make that plan. Talk about it. Definitely want your loved ones to be dealing with grief and not dealing with, okay, how am I gonna make the property tax payment on the 50 properties that you guys got, because that was your entrepreneurial goal and you did it. So succession planning in life insurance is super important. Don't wait too long to do it, because your loved one, your wishes will not be what happens, if that makes sense. So those are my takeaways from work as a software, nurse scheduling and staffing software. So now, since I left that business, I got pushed out of that business. I started an app about home ownership, and that's why I'm here. At least that's why I think I'm here. We'll see what Josh has to say about that. So basically, I bought a house in 2015, and it came with no information. and me as a ignorant homeowner. Grew up in Colorado, so we only had to mow the field once every 1 month, every 2 months. Like mowing wasn't a thing that we worried about. Sprinklers, everything dies, it's fine. Moving to Minneapolis, you have to mow like every 5 days. Like that stuff just keeps coming back. And then there you have like humidity. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah, Colorado doesn't have that. So I had to learn about how to be a homeowner in a whole different state, no relatives. The previous people left nothing behind. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, man, it's 2015. Like, why isn't there something out there? So after my exit from that company, I used the proceeds from that to start the app. And fast forward, now it's 2024. And it's app's called Yarlow, Y-A-R-L-O-W, and it's a free app because I don't pay for anything. So it's, my thermostat is at 50. So I can't sell something that I don't believe in. And it's basically a way that you can keep track of all the work you do to the house. So if you're a flipper, every receipt you get, take a picture of it, store it in the app. When you go to sell the house, we make a little custom website that summarizes everything you've done. Because you just did a great job. You just put 130,000, I wasn't listening very closely, into this flip, and you want to show that it's paying off, that this is the money you put in, you invested in it. It's got a warranty on these appliances or your carpet. You got carpet, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes carpets comes with warranty. So those are the things that will help increase the selling price of your home. So with our research, it's like you get roughly 1 to 10% higher initial asking offer if you can show the records for that house. So that's kind of how the goal is transparency. Like, how do I communicate, so me as a homeowner, and I'm selling it, or a flipper, that I can get that higher offer? Because I'm showing them like, hey, there's warranties all over this place. But you wouldn't know it because I'm terrible at keeping track of documents. And I didn't give you the new things, but now it's in the app. It all transfers to the new homeowner. Now they have it. They can keep adding to it. They can keep taking on with their homeowner journey. Same we give you maintenance tips based on what home features you have and what location you are in. So in Minnesota, we tell you how to winterize your roof. I never knew this, but sometimes you have to like shovel your roof, otherwise it collects. I don't know if you heard of the Metrodome. That's where the Twins and the Vikings used to play, but then the dome collapsed because of all the snow. So yeah, we have to shovel shovel roofs. But in Florida, you don't have to do that. So of course we don't tell you like, hey, it's time to winterize your roof, because they're like, no, we're good. They don't even have to turn their heat on. They just get an electric blanket. So that's kind of what we're working on now. The goal is transparency and home ownership, giving millennials, Gen Zers tips, because we are making investments in these houses. We're taking ownership, and we just need to learn how to take care of it. So why can't a home come with a user guide? And we're hoping that the Yarlow app can be their user guide. So that's kind of what all my efforts are going into now. I did get my real estate license, broker license in Minnesota, Nebraska, and Florida, just so I could learn what is all involved in the process and how we can make it better, make it friendlier for homeowners, for agents, for flippers. Your first question is going to be like, can I just take a picture and it reads the receipt and it like puts all the information in? Yeah, that's coming in May, so we're really excited about that. But if you download the app tonight, you're going to be like, I have to manually input this? Yes, you do. But we're improving it, so anyway. So that's what I'm working on, and that's kind of my entrepreneurship journey. The key takeaways, I think, are just understanding how you guys operate, what type of entrepreneur you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, getting the people around you who can complement those, and then succession planning, life insurance. I wish I had my life insurance brokerage license, but I don't. But totally recommend it. it's only I have $1 million policy for $90 a month, so I think it's worth it. There's just that security, and you can even put in your partnership documents. So let's say there's 3 of you. You have non-liquid assets, you have rental properties, so you either have to sell them to buy out the other partner, whatever. Now you have insurance that can take care of a lot of that. So those are kind of my key takeaways, and hopefully you enjoy a drink at the bar, and don't drink too much because summer's coming and I want to run my AC. So just kidding. But yeah, so that's me. I don't know. Anything else? Any questions?
Where did the name Yarlow come from?
Oh, I'm supposed to have come up with a better story by now. Is it a spelling mistake?
What was it supposed to be?
Yarrow. It's a tree, a plant. Yeah, and I put an L in instead of 2 R's. So and it's stuck. But if anyone asks, I think in the future, I think it's my dog's name. Something like that. I don't know. I'm working with a branding company, so we'll see what they come up with.
What's how does Yarlow become profitable as a company since the app's free?
Yeah.
How do you guys make money?
So that's a good question. Right now, so we let you put all your information in, and then when you want to go sell your house, and we make that little custom website, it's $100. So you pay us the $100, we make a website. So it's kind of fun. When you have buyers come into your house, we have a little QR code that you can print off. So you put the QR code on the front door or on the back of the front door, and they can scan it, and then they go room by room, and it tells you what you did to each room of the house. So that's $100, and then transferring the data between the homeowner, the seller, and the buyer is $100. So hopefully the homeowners are willing to pay that money to get all the receipts, the warranty information, that kind of stuff. And then for agents, you can brand the app. I don't know if you guys have heard of digital business cards, but kind of on Venmo and LinkedIn, you can scan a QR code and it downloads the app and it puts all the agent's branding on it. So then I'm like, hey, I got you this present. Instead of this business card that you're going to throw away in a couple of days or minutes, now you have this app that tells you how to take care of your house, and when you want to go sell it, it's me. So those are the 3 ways we make money right now. We're also working to bring in Q1 of next year, we're going to do Home Service Pro advertising. I'm a really big believer in privacy and not selling data. So how we are envisioning it is all of your stuff stays within Yarlow, and then we ask you a question like, hey, you have an asphalt driveway, you should have it seal coated every 3 years. It's time for you to do that. Do you want us to find someone who will do it for you? And if you're like, no, I got this. Or give me a quote by Tuesday. Boom, we can do that. So we're rolling that part out next Q1 of next year. That was a really long explanation, I'm sorry.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, that was a good explanation because it answered part of my question was how is the interaction different from a regular homeowner versus a real estate agent, and how does a real estate agent get signed up, I guess, instead of just downloading the app? Do they have to do anything special?
Gotcha. So in the app, there's a spot where we're like, are you a real estate agent and you want to pay us money? You can. And then there's also kind of a fun part for landlords, because most of you guys are landlords. You can share the house. You can invite your tenant to be part of your Yarlow house, and you can choose what type of notifications they're in charge of. So hey, it's time to change out your air filter, or this is what type of water filter is in the refrigerator, so make sure you change that out. And then you can take pictures. So if they didn't take a picture, it didn't happen. So you guys can see that, they can't see what you put in. So it's kind of nice that you have that separation of owner versus tenant, but it also, if they're in charge of mowing the lawn, here's your reminder to mow the lawn. So it helps with that tenant agreement of what responsibilities they're in charge of and what responsibilities you are in charge of.
Is any monetary transactions handled within the app, or is it a different website they have to go to take care of that?
Yes. So right now, we are in the middle of redoing the front end of our app. So right now, everything happens on our website. But as we move forward with redoing our app, which will be ready to go the middle of May, we'll have in-app purchases. And right now, you can claim as many houses as you want for free. And we're going to limit it to once you claim 2 houses, everyone after that is $1 a month. Mostly because of robots. I don't know if you've heard of bots, but we don't want them to like claim all the houses and then you guys are like, I own that house. You're like, well, Mr. Robot owns 1,200 of them. Any other questions?
What kind of marketing efforts are you making right now?
Yeah. So right now, Yarlow is being used in 34 states. We just went live with our beta-ish app about a year ago. So it's grown pretty quickly, and my marketing budget is 0. It's even worse than my old company. But we're in the middle of raising money right now, so our marketing budget is about to be rather large. So as organic traffic, with just social media postings, I mean, I feel pretty good that we're in 34 states, so we'll see.
A lot of property management softwares like already use data collected from their users to train AI models. Are you guys planning on doing something similar to that?
Yes. So right now we're incorporating AI into maintenance suggestions. So instead of you reading through everything, you can just ask it a question like, hey, what should I do for my gutters? Well, so it tells you how to do it. Same with like pools. Pools get really complicated really fast. You have above ground, you have below ground, you have Minnesota, you have Nebraska, and so we're gonna cheat and get out of it and just have AI answer those types of questions. But yeah, machine learning and AI, we're really excited to start moving forward with that part too. But I've been bootstrapping it, which means I've just been using my own money. So I haven't been able to make it as awesome as it could be. But we're hoping in the next couple of months that you see a significant jump in the app right now versus then. We're also gamifying the app, so making it more fun to put stuff in. But you guys probably don't care too much about that. I do, because you get to see animations.
What have you found to be the most challenging side of developing a new product?
Yes, development is super tough. One of the things I'm most embarrassed about is how much I've spent on development. Mostly because I halfway started this company out of spite. I said, well, if I'm going to go through a hostile takeover, I'm going to take your best employees. So I've been paying their salaries the whole time. And even though we didn't have like a strong tech roadmap back then, I still paid them. And then I talked to other people and they're like, oh yeah, I built this whole app for like $25,000 with Flutter Flow. And I'm like, oh wow, I spent add a 0 to that. So yeah, app development, if you guys are interested in it, is come down extremely in pricing. And then it used to be you had to develop an app for iOS and for Android. And then if you had a website, you had to do that too. So imagine having 3 documents and you have to keep all of them up to date. So we're like, no, we don't want to do that. So we don't have a website that you can input stuff in because too many documents to keep track of. So we just have the iOS and the Android app, and we use Flutter to develop it, which lets it 1 document, 2 exits. It's great. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, let's hang out and chat and have a drink.